this news broke this week, and obviously it's going to benefit us in the long term. I guess ESPN has just bought the entire college football playoff.
Yep.
Looks like it.
Unbelievable.
Is that what you read?
Yeah, for quite a bit of money.
And for a pretty good amount of time.
Yeah.
ESPN has agreed to a 6-year deal because they have 2 more years left.
Yes.
Okay, so they have 2 more years, so they bought another 6 years on the back end of it. 12-team college football playoff for $1.3 billion a year. This is on top of the last 2 years of the current deal, says Stuart Mandel via Andrew Rat Marchand of The Athletic. And I don't know if any of this has been signed, sealed, delivered yet. Obviously, whenever these deals are reported, it feels like they're at an agreement, but is it actual and what's the reality of it? But whenever you think about college football and how Peacock had a piece of it, Fox obviously has a piece of it, everybody has pregame shows now that are happening. ESPN's been around college football for a very long time. A lot of money being spent everywhere, new alignment, new transition. It's like ESPN's like, yep, we're going to take that whole thing. I'm very thankful that, hey, shout out. Hey,
work.
For us, it's great. You know, obviously for our show and our program, but also this is an investment from ESPN and from Disney saying we are going to remain in the live sports world, because there was this conversation about like budget cutting and can't afford this and they're cutting back on that. I think everything ESPN has done has proved
the opposite.
They're still going all in. So I'm very thankful that that is the case, and good for the college football playoff, making $1.3 billion a year off their team. That's just 12 games. That's just 12 games.
That's just 12 games. You're right. And ESPN has always had a lock on bowl games. I feel like almost every bowl game is an ESPN game. But was this like a continuation on what they had, or was there other, like, did Fox put a bid in? Were other people bidding against them?
Sure. So the conversation was that it was going to be divvied.
Yeah.
Like it was going to be, that was kind of the fear, I think, you know, and I haven't really paid close enough. I did pay attention to that NFL thing that was announced like 2 weeks ago about the ESPN potentially either buying NFL media or partnering with NFL media. Haven't heard much from that. That just kind of got chattered, and then I assume that is not a deal that has been signed. Then you hear about the merger that took place. So like we don't know what's real or what's not real, because a lot of things get reported, especially by that particular human, that are not accurate. We've been right in the middle of that. But from the sources that we've talked to, this does sound like this is something that is going to take place. So ESPN's got to be pumped about that. But I think the big story is, you know, I was the reason why everybody got fired.
Yes.
You know, remember that? That's how this whole thing started.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then all those people's friends were trying to just kill us from within ESPN because we are the assholes. That $1.3 billion a year is available, okay, for a college football playoff. So, like, that is good news for the future of sports, that the OGs of sports are still very much in love and still very much invested, as opposed to what the narrative potentially was at the beginning of the season for the company that we chose to license our show to.
And we talk about the ratings all the time in the NFL. They are NFL is king, but football is king, because right below the NFL is college football, and then it's every other sport. It's
sudden death football too. Sudden death football, where the loser goes home, and that's what they bid on right here.
And there's home field advantage.
You're right. You're 100% right, AJ.
Remember the first round of this. Now the 1 seeds get a bye or whatever.
Yeah.
But the first round of these playoffs are home games. So think about
the atmosphere.
I don't know how many megacasts there we are going to negotiate to be doing, but when I saw this, my immediate thought was good news for old Pat McAfee Show, business-wise as well, that we're going to be able to do this. But it's like, this is only going to continue to get more and more electric. But also, what does college football look like?
Exactly.
8 years from now, when this deal is up? You know, like, who's in the Big Ten? Who's in the SEC? Who's in the Big 12? What's going on with the Pac-12? What's going on with the ACC? What's going on with the Power 5? You got Power 5 schools, head coaches leaving mid-spring to go be tight end coaches. Other places, it's like, what's happening with the Power 5? There's so many questions, but it feels like at least one thing has been decided here, is that this college football playoff is going to go off, and it's going to be very profitable, hopefully for the players as well in this entire deal.
Yeah, to Tony's point, like after those 13 NFL playoff games, we always talk about the top, 100 rated broadcasts of every year. After those 13 NFL playoff games, it's the college football playoff games. And those are the top 20, top 25 most watched things every year, so it is huge. Do you think, to your point about all the teams and what college football will look like in 6 years, that some of these teams that do go, Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA to the Big Ten,
Texas, Oklahoma.
Texas to the SEC, like some of those schools are going to end up with 2-3 losses. So let's say Texas is at 14. Naturally, do you just think that in 6 years, because of the fact that there will be great teams that lose a couple games by, a combined 10 points or whatever, that because of that, they'll say, okay, hey, we got to go to 16 now?
So ranking, obviously. This is just like the NFL is at 17 games now.
Bingo.
They're going to go to 18
Yeah.
games. That is only a matter of time.
More international.
Everybody knows it. We all know it. We all see it coming. The NFL Players Association, no. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be an added bye week, too, because that gets an extra week of primetime games and everything in there. We assume if this 12-game thing works.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they're going to say, hey, the NFL has they have a 16-team playoff or whatever it is. It's more now or whatever it was. Then we could do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's only a matter of time.